Welcome back to A Faster Me. We're out here at the Tour de Murrieta, Stage 1. Still not exactly sure where my health and fitness is at, but last year I got dropped in this race, both races, so this year if I have a bunch finish, I'll be happy with that, and let's see how it goes.
In 3, 2, 1, blasting off.
Okay, we're off, and it's a pretty good race. I mean, I'm not a really big fan of the bumps and stuff like that on this course, but it's fast, as fast as you want it to be, and there's multiple corners, so it lends to a little bit of variety. The pace was hot pretty much from the go. There's so many attacks with all the preems and the omnium points up for grabs. So yeah, sit back and check out the speed and the shadiness of this race. It's not too bad, honestly. I think we always like to say a race is sketch, but that's just what it is. It's a lot of 75 people in a close quarters. There's going to be a lot of contact and a lot of near misses. So anyway, I'm following behind Dalton right here. Walt does bikes, and we just get a good start. We want to be up front. I got two teammates in this race, Marshall Yale and Connor Jones. And we just wanted to get good position from the beginning and then let the race settle in and, later in the race come together and see what we can do. But Dalton's setting a pretty good pace here. Oh, there's no stats. I forgot to turn my computer on until like 15 minutes into the race. So I got video, no stats until about 15 minutes in. So that'll kick in later. Both Dalton and I, neither one of us want to be on the front here. So he's trying to pull over. I'm trying not to let him. And then I said, okay, he's not going to pull, and I'm not going to pull either. So just pull to the side. And there's attack number 1 going off the left. I give it a little shot out so Dalton or somebody can jump on it. I accelerate a little just so I can keep the speed for when I want to slot in, but I have no intentions of chasing this whatsoever. I don't even care if it gets away, to be honest with you. In Cat 4-5, breakaways hardly ever work, especially not on lap 1. Got 35 minutes to basically chase it down, and most of us are not really coordinated enough as far as working together to allow the break to stick to begin with. So I'm just rolling here and letting somebody else drag it down. There's my teammate Marshall. He's one of those high energy guys, so he doesn't mind chasing it, and I'll jump in here where I get a chance, and it's okay with me. I'm only 8th position or whatever, so that's fine. And I still don't want to give too much effort here. We're putting in pretty good watts here, high 300s, low 400s, and I was just like, it's a lot of energy to spend at the beginning of the race on lap 1 when the brake's not going to stick no matter what. And at this point, now that I let this little gap open, I'm okay with Marshall going in the break. If it's a break of 8 and if it does stick, I'm okay with that. He is a kind of steady breakaway type rider. So I decide again, just to chill. If I bring it back slowly, I will. If not, someone goes around me and I'll jump on that. So yeah, honestly, with this course, last year, this turn that we're coming up to right here, it's pretty high speed at the end of the straight, but there was a crash in every race in that turn, every single race. Some of them had multiple crashes in that turn. So everybody was a little cautious that was familiar with it. I was definitely cautious going into there. But you have to keep high speed going in there because the faster it is that we enter that corner, it gets more single file, maybe 2 wide, and that's a lot safer than going in there 4, 5, 6, 7 deep. Or 7 wide. So like I suspected, that brake got pulled back. Another one goes off the front here of about 4 riders. And of course it's not going to go anywhere either. So, and they're really just fighting for the preems. There's I think maybe 3-4 preems in our race this weekend on stage 1. For the most part, most of this race, I just hang out with Marshall here. He's a good wheel to follow, and like I said, he's a high energy guy. He likes putting in work. He likes chasing down stuff and attacking. So yeah, I'll just follow him and move where I can throughout the peloton and try to save some energy. I actually like this layout a little better than last year's four corner. It's a little narrow, and it, like I said, it lends itself to a lot of close calls, but it does add a little more character to the race, a little more strategy. Because you can get out of sight on people, there is a chance you could break away if you had some cooperation, or if you're just that talented. But it also, I think, makes it a little bit safer than last year. Last year was just, high speed, two big high speed straights with two short side straights, and that gets a little dangerous when you're just going that fast all the time into these narrow turns. As you can see, we're pretty stretched out, but the race is settling down a little bit, or the pace is settling down. It's not so sporadic, but that's going to be short-lived. You get a lot of attacks in this race. Fortunately, it was all individuals attacking. It wasn't people with any coordination or any type of plan. And like I said before, most of it was just people going after greens. It's awesome too that we raced in the morning. It was cool for us, probably 70s or so, maybe low 70s when we started. It was sunny both days, but the wind picks up around here later in the day. And even right now, there's a little bit of wind. Nothing too bad. It's under 10 miles per hour. But when you're out there, you get hit with it every once in a while. It does take a little bit of a toll on you. So I think we were blessed a little bit that we got to race early in the morning. I wish I had the data, though, for the beginning of the race, because it was pretty hot. It was pretty hot, and there's a little point like maybe in the first couple of laps, which always happens until it settles, where you think like, man, I'm gonna get popped if we keep this pace or whatever. But it settled pretty quickly, and everything was fine. After that, yeah, it's a good race. This next right-hand turn coming up here, it's a little sketch. Like, I don't know. It's not. I wouldn't say it's sketch, but Cat 4-5 would never really take a good line into this turn here. There's a lot of movement going into that turn, and it's not that high speed, but you got the little bump in the paint lines. And here's a mystery. That's Jesus right there, or Ricky. And Marshall and I met him at two different times. So Marshall knew him as Jesus. I knew him as Ricky. And we were both like, we thought we were talking about two different people. And then after the race, I talked to him, and he was like, oh yeah, my name is Jesus Ricardo. And I was like, oh, okay. Double agent going on here. So, but anyway, that mystery's solved. We had a lot of games going on in this race as well. A lot of cat and mouse. The Omnium, actually, it's good to have these 2-day races. Having an Omnium and a Omnium Preems and stuff like that, it adds a lot of strategy, adds a little spice to the race. There's some guys that, right off the bat, they intended to get as many points as they can on both days. A part of the field, about 20 riders, are only in this field for today's race, and they're not doing tomorrow. And then you got, 55 riders or whatever that are doing both stages. So for the guys doing both stages, if you make it in the top 20, you get Omnium points. So there's actual 10 bonus points on one of the Preems, I believe it is. And then the higher you finish, the more points you get. And, you get 2 good days in a row, you have a good shot at winning the Omnium. This section here is good to move up. I only use 2 sections, maybe 3, to move up and down the peloton. I wasn't trying to use too much energy. I was using other people. I never really just said, hey, I'm gonna put in the effort and move up on my own. I always went when someone else went, just so I can sit behind them. This section here, you can move up on it here and there, especially about midway through the section here, because everyone starts to coast at the end for this corner. And I don't mean dive bombing up the middle. It's just you can pick, up the inside. You can pick inside or outside, and just shoot up one of the sides, and you can usually make up a good, 5 to 10 places. The only problem with it is if you come outside here, you do have a chance of being pushed into those bushes or the curb or these parking spaces out there, which happens almost every race. This front straight here, it's a really long front straight. It's great for sprint finish if you're a sprinter. But it's only about 1.5%, and we're hitting it pretty good. We're hitting it between 27 and 30 miles per hour usually. I think on the final sprint it's maybe going to be mid-30s, 30 up to maybe 36 miles per hour or so. But it does tax your legs a little bit. If you're sitting in the wind and you're having to put in this 400 or 500 watt effort, it does tax your legs a little. And I'm not sure if the young man in front of me, I'm not sure if that's Henry or not. I believe he wins the race right here with the white helmet in the GoPro. Just not sure. I don't remember what number he was. He has a video also out. I can't remember his name. Hopefully I'll put it down I'll type it in, or put it in the comments or something. So you can check out his video. It's good from his perspective. It's always good to see, the race from the winner's perspective. So yeah, he does a good job too, and he's does a little bit of attacking, moves around, and then he sits in for a while too. But it has a really nice sprint at the end. It's not like super high watts, but it was sustained really well, and he used the draft like incredibly well to make up all the spots. The guy shooting up the right there, it's a good move, but in the gutter, I'm just not a big fan of it. Going from the gutter surface with the curb and then back to the asphalt, just a little bump or anything like that, and things can get out of hand pretty quick. I like to stay on the asphalt as much as I can. I'm really surprised that, as far as I know, we didn't have any crashes in that corner. Someone told me there was a crash in the race somewhere, but I didn't see it, didn't hear it. Out of sight, out of mind, I guess. This Isaiah in front of me right here, Isaiah's really strong. A little spoiler alert, Isaiah wins the overall Omnium both days. I believe he gets second place in this race. I'm not sure how he finished in the circuit race, but obviously he finished in a high enough position to win the overall classification for Cat 4-5. See the start-finish sign? It doesn't really happen in our race, the arc there. It's kind of weird. Almost every race, those start-finish balloons or banner or whatever, it blows down. And it usually blows down mid-race when, some riders are coming through and they just get it out of the way in time. It's just kind of funny. I don't know how, someone needs to solve that issue before someone gets hurt. So far, I've never seen anyone get hit with it or get hurt, but at some point of the weekend, it always falls down and then they have to take it down. I almost get a little pinched right here. This curve, it happens a lot later in the race. We start getting in there 3, 4, 5 wide. People run into the dirt a little bit and then come back in on you. Again, it's just normal, goes with the territory or where we're at in our skill levels, and just honestly in just racing in general, because I see it in when I watch videos of Cat 3s and 1s and 2s, it happens there as well. We just get a little excited when it happens to us. Pace is picking up, as you can see how the peloton's stretched out. Anytime you're single file, double file, it's usually a pretty good pace. When it's not, it starts to bunch up, as you see people slowing down now to hit their brakes. It's important on this turn to get a good drive here without wasting too much energy. We're usually going to be, 400 or 500 watts for about 5 seconds just to get your speed up. Oh, I got stats now also. Stats are down at the bottom, just kicked in probably a lap before. I didn't really notice it when it did. But you can see this is just a 1% grade here. We're not going that fast actually right now, only 25, 26 miles per hour, but usually we're somewhere in there, 26, 27 to about 30, 32 miles per hour at the fastest. Anytime there's a preem, it's going to be over 30 miles per hour. And you hear that bell ringing, that means this is a preem lap, so it'll probably heat up. This is the other section that I was talking about that I use to move up a lot, just whenever I need to. When it's a double foul like this, it's usually we're going at a decent pace, so there's really no need to try to move up. But anytime it slows down is a great opportunity to make up a couple positions. And that's pretty, thick right there going into these turns. 5 wide it's pretty thick. That means the pace is slow, which you can see we're only going 24 miles per hour. And yeah, it's easy to say because no one wants to put in that effort, and we don't actually have, a single team controlling the pace. But for us, it's way safer if you keep the pace a little bit higher. Anytime you're well under 30, yeah, it gets a little sketch because everyone gets a bright idea of like, hey, I'm going to make a move here, or I'm going to dive inside or go around someone. Go Fast had a good representation today as well. Stage 2 also. I believe Stage 2 sponsors Tour de Murrieta. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they do, or at least they help out organizing it, things like that. But Go Fast, Stage 2, they both had good representation in here, and did a good job competing and racing as a team. As you can see here, preem lap, and we're back up to almost 30 miles per hour on this straight. I have no interest in any of that. I'm still at a point where, I want to have some energy at the finish. So, I'm a sit-in type of guy. At some point in my young career, that probably will change. Maybe I'll get bold and do some moves or something, but for the most part, I'm a sit-in type of guy and see what I can do at the end. But the key is getting to the end. You see Marshall up there. I tried to make sure that I was never too far away from him, just in case. Like I said, I use him a lot to move up. He's really good to follow for me. He's about the right size. He's larger than I am, taller than I am, so I get a really good draft from him. And some of the other guys here, I do not get a good draft from. So I try not to get too far away from Marshall, especially when it gets critical, like towards the end of the race. I'll find them and get back up there, unless I find someone else that's that I trust that moves through the peloton pretty well. I don't know the gentleman's name right here in the kind of pinkish red. I believe he got a couple preems, and he was pretty active during the race, attacked a lot, and I don't know if he was just going for preems today or how he did overall, but yeah, he's pretty active, had a lot of attacks. He just was up and down in the peloton a little bit. He'll recover and then go off the front for a hard attack, maybe snag a preem, and then come back in and recover again, which is a great strategy, especially like in our categories. We're out here basically just racing for fun and for points. So anytime you can get a free helmet or $25 or anything like that, yeah, it's good to go for. See, this pace now is really slow, and you see how thick it is, how bunched up we are. We're under 25 miles per hour on this front straight, and that's because everybody's tired from the last cream lap, which again is a great time to attack. Yeah, I think I just gotta reiterate that, for the most part, everybody did a great job today. Mixed field, Cat 4 or 5. This course is really narrow. Anytime there's hay bales everywhere, it means there's a lot of hazards. It's not the cleanest course either, with the fields and the dust flying around, and it's a breeze. It's pretty windy. It's not windy right now, but every day it's fairly windy out there, so you get a lot of dirt on the course. And we always talk about how scary a race is when it's Cat 4 and Cat 5, but you also got to give some credit sometimes when, no one's on the deck. And this is definitely a course where you can have people on the deck. So, yeah, just, applaud everyone that's in the race for making it as safe as they can to, their individual skill level. Not doing such a good job here, eating a little wind, just not really on anybody's wheel, just kind of floating. Now that everybody got a breather, we kind of picked up the pace again. I think after this, we maybe have one more points cream at about 15 minutes to go. But the race does try to calm down just a little bit, or at least maybe get steady, a little more consistent. That turn right there has such a big dip in it, like it just kills all your momentum. You like to come in there a little faster, but I mean, it's a good 10-inch or so dip. We're stretching out again pretty good here, so pace obviously is picked up a little bit. It's not blistering, but 25 miles per hour is pretty good. I think I averaged 26. What did I average? 26.1 for this race, I believe it is, and that's pretty hot. I mean, that's a pretty fast pace for this many corners. And with how narrow the course is and the amount of riders we had, it's pretty fast paced to average over 26 miles per hour. I think I used the right side here to move up a little bit. Not too many places, but I think I'm gonna slide up here. I'm not sure. It looks like I just settled in. Oh, there I go. Trying to slide a little bit. Later in the race, we're almost going to have a crash here. Someone pushes Marshall into these parking stalls, and for him to save it and come back in, when he comes back in, he chops my wheel. I have to tap brakes for a second. Back wheel goes sideways. People are yelling all crazy. But, it is what it is. I was late getting on this wheel here. I should have used number 505, his effort to move up. I try to jump on this guy, but then he slots in. So I'm back out in the wind again as I move up. But it wasn't too bad. The wind does come off the left, so I'm a little bit protected, but still, it wasn't too many watts either, and still made up a few positions. So. Ooh, getting squeezed out a little there. That's pretty dangerous. I think that rider had a flat on the right side. And yeah, nothing he can do and not much we can do either. Luckily, somebody called him out and I was able to squeeze in here with the Velo rider, which good job for him too. He did not panic and, you know, basically let me get on his hip for a second and move back over without either one of us touching or, you know, panicking or anything. This turn is so weird that it's actually, you can move up on the outside there on the left. I never did it, but everyone went so slow to cut that 90-degree turn. You can actually just keep your speed and ride around the outside. Here, I don't know what's going on, but up front, they're weaving back and forth across the road, which, and there's pretty dramatic weaves up there. I don't recommend it. I don't see the purpose of it. And if you're on the front and trying to maintain the front, I don't get that weave right there. You're not gonna break anyone's draft really like that. We're doing 30 plus, and it's kind of hard for you to do 30 plus weaving. So yeah, I don't get that move right there. Other than it makes it a little dangerous, but. There's my man moving up on the left there with the white helmet. I don't know if this is where he maybe attacks again, but on the last lap, he does a nice move moving up the left side over there, getting in position, and those are things I need to learn. I kill myself every race from just bad position going into the last few laps, and you know, that's where your effort needs to be made. I save all this energy all race, and that's where I need to use it on those last couple of laps, get into better position. Everybody seems like they're getting a little antsy, a little excited. We're starting to go into these corners a little deeper and deeper. Pace slows down again. Just such a yo-yo effect with our categories of, you know, I've seen us as low as 21 miles per hour and as high as I think 32. So it's pretty big, dramatic differences there, and it really has an effect on how everyone's going to take these corners and how many people you're going to go into a corner with. I think this is my first time moving up the left side on this road. Like I said, again, you can use either side. Obviously, you're not going to be able to go up the middle because there's bikes in your way. But yeah, you can go out the inside or the outside here and make up some pretty good positions. Obviously, if you're in the inside, it's going to be a tight turn, and it changes to the cobblestone there or the brick, and that's why we have so many crashes. People at such a high speed, steep lean angle, and then a change of road surfaces. Not a good combination. Another 600 watt acceleration. Definitely will tax the legs. Here I see Go Fast trying to form on the left, but we're about 4 laps out, I believe. And I see one of their teammates trying to come over, and instead of having a dangerous situation, I just let them in. You know, go ahead, get to your team. We're still 3 or 4 laps away, so it wasn't a big deal for me. And I only have one teammate to begin with. He's sitting right there to my right, so I'll be able to jump on him and make a move when I need to. Or at least I was confident that I could. So here, I don't know the exact plan, but I know all of Go Fast was trying to get together here. You see about 5 of them getting together on the left. I don't know if they're going to try to go to the front and start their lead out or not, or just maybe control the pace off the front. But I was anxious. I'm not anxious, but excited. I wanted to kind of see what was going to happen, what their team tactics were going to be. It's good at the low levels. We don't really get too many organized attacks or anything like that. Usually it's just individuals. So, you know, I heard them talking a little bit, and mainly I heard Pat on the side trying to get them together. So yeah, I knew something was trying to form. Just unfortunately, it never came together, and we're all back at it again. It's another good opportunity to move up, follow some people making their move, use their energy. Still got my teammate Marshall right there, a couple bike links in front of me. I think we're going to be heading into 3 laps to go now. Not so good sitting in the wind here, just being a little bit lazy. Yeah, I know I'm not like out of it or anything. I can bring this back like easily, but why am I sitting in the wind instead of being closer on the wheel and get a little more protection? It's not a lot of watts or anything like that, but it's just you won't always be able to do that. So it's not it's just picking up bad habits. So I need to kind of eliminate a lot of those bad habits and do my little acceleration, stick to a wheel, and get a better draft. In the long run, I'll save more energy doing it that way. Everybody's getting a little excited. It's coming down to the last couple laps here. See a little more bumping, people really fighting for position. I'm back on my teammate. Again, Marshall does a great job. He's easy to work with. And yeah, I can trust where he's going most of the time. It's like we can't predict where everyone's going to be in the peloton, but I can usually trust that, one, he's going to put the effort in that's needed, and two, he's going to usually take a safe line and protect himself, which in turn protects me as well. But mentally, this is where I need to get more disciplined, a little tougher, is, I don't always fight for that position that I need to be in. Sometimes I take it for granted and relax a little bit, and like I said, I've been saving energy all race, so this is where I really need to use what energy I have left and make the right moves and stay in a good position. For these last 3 laps, I just need to stay in good position no matter what. I was going to follow Marshall here, but then I realized he's not moving up. He's on an attack, and I can just tell by his body position, so I actually let it sag a little bit. I did not want to attack with him, but I was going to stay up right here in the top 10 and just make sure. I was hoping he kept the pace hot. If he keeps it high enough for 1 lap and it stays strung out like this, we're in perfect position. Right here, I believe I'm about 8th. And that's perfect for, 1 more lap to go. So we're going into, this is 2 laps. But unfortunately, Marshall slows down here. I mean, we're single file, but then we just get swarmed. And like I mentioned before, I need to put in more effort here to stay in that position. But it's kind of hard when you're going 4 or 5 wide. To stay in a good prime position, because people can come up the inside, they can come up the outside, and this is why it's important to keep the speed high going into the last lap or so. I mean, if you have a team, which we didn't, we just have 2 of us. Connor's in the race with us, but he's a little further back. He got stuck back there trying to move up, and yeah, it makes it hard here to keep the pace high, because one man can't keep the pace high by himself. You need someone to be working with, or whatever the case may be. And once you get swarmed, it's just a roll of the dice. And I wasn't sure if this was the last lap or not, so I asked Marshall, but it's not. We have 1 more to go. And of course, look how many people we're with now. We're going in here about 15th, 20th position already. Marshall gets bumped out, comes back in. I have to hit my brakes. And there goes more energy. Another 600 plus watts right there. Right before another 400 or 500 watts. I don't know what this goes up to. We're now sitting 15th, 20th, and we're 4 or 5 wide. Marshall tries to move up again. I get a little pinch by 514 here. And yeah, now we're in 30th position. So here's, you know, this is the most critical part of the race. We're going into the last lap. Going into the last lap, bell lap, and I'm now down in 35th or something. So a lap before, I'm in, you know, good 8th position. And exactly 1 lap later, I'm in 38th position. I don't even know what position this is. There's so many riders in front of me. And yeah, it's just, we just went a little too early. I think at the beginning of this bell lap, if Marshall would have stretched it out there, that would have been a little better. And I think then he would have had a little cooperation. Somebody would have kept the pace high. Whoever chased him would have probably kept the pace high, and we would not be swarmed like this. But once we're swarmed like this, I mean, there's blood in the water now, and everyone's thinking like, okay, I can win this. So I try to move up again, try to get on Marshall's wheel here. Unfortunately, we do pick the wrong side. On this turn, the outside is a little safer, other than you have the potential of being pushed out. The problem is anyone coming up the inside, they control what goes on. All they have to do is hit their brakes, and you can't go anywhere. I kind of get a little nervous, and I back off here because we are just going too hot with too many people into this turn. Luckily, everyone stays upright. We went in there 4 wide, and I'm now down in 30th position or something. Here, initially, I don't even sprint. I was kind of like, you know, cashing it in and just like whatever. And then I decided to just do a little acceleration here. But I don't even actually sprint. I'm just seated. And I'm doing a half-ass sprint. Excuse my French. Still past maybe 5-6 people, but yeah, just out of position. And yeah, so not too bad. Accomplished 1 goal of just staying with it, and just bad out of position.
All right, so Murrieta Stage 1 is in the books. I'm kind of happy, not too happy, happy and disappointed. Happy that I didn't get dropped like last year. Disappointed that I had a teammate working with me at the last lap, and I ended up losing his wheel or letting his wheel go in the last couple corners, and I was way out of position for the sprint. I don't know, passed a few people on the straight here and got back up to like 20th or 21st. I don't know the exact position I was in, but could have done a little better. But I'm happy that I didn't get dropped, and we were in good position all race, and looking forward till tomorrow.